Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. Michigan state-run psychiatric care system is broken. And the more we learn, the worse it gets. The state auditor's report confirms what patients, parents, and families have been telling me for nearly 2 years, that the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services is failing to protect our most vulnerable residents. 2 years ago, I asked for this audit after hearing too many heartbreaking stories. Parents who couldn't get answers about their kids. Patients describing abuse, poor living conditions, and even a lack of food. A brief video will show how badly our state hospital system has been managed and how it's failed to protect basic patient rights. And if it's okay, Mr. Chair, I'd like to play the video.
This plea comes after Local 4 first exposed the issues going on at the Hawthorne Medical Center over 2 years ago.
All right, so let's bring in investigative reporter Karen Drew. So Karen, you've been breaking down developments on this story since you uncovered that active shooter drill at the Children's Hospital. So Karen, it sounds like a state senator is after some accountability.
Yeah, this is a big day, Kim and Damon. A lot of new developments. Senator Weber is taking this seriously. He sent this letter to the director, Elizabeth Hertel of the MDHHS. I want you to take a look at that opening paragraph. It says, I continue to have concerns over your department's engagement with the recipient rights system and making sure that the patients receive the care they deserve. That's that system that you file a complaint. He says it doesn't work. He also goes on to say, I've continued to investigate your department's management of our state hospital system. The deeper I look, the worse it gets. I recently sat down with a state senator to talk not only about his concerns, but an audit that we've been waiting to be completed for 1.5 years.
Hi, I'm at 18471 Saturday Road. There was just a report of an active intruder at Hawthorne Center.
What's going on?
Active shooter with AR-15.
Two
Active shooter?
active.
Yes.
It was the phone call and the body cam video of the active shooter drill.
Put your hands on top of your head, facing me! Do it now!
That Local 4 uncovered and exposed that started this whole investigation into the Hawthorne Center, the state's only child psych hospital. Now the children were moved to the Ruther Hospital, and that's where we exposed this. Patients fighting patients, and whistleblowers standing up for the children.
They're forgotten that it's a healthcare facility, not a correctional facility.
A 13-year-old Hawthorne patient was taken to the Children's Hospital ER in Detroit after swallowing an object at Hawthorne. But under the supervision of a Hawthorne employee, the boy was able to walk out of Children's Hospital just after 3 o'clock in the morning.
This was a high-risk medical placement, and someone or many people dropped the ball.
Children at Hawthorne already have deep problems, so why in the world would this facility pull an active shooter drill on the staff without telling anybody what was going on or alerting nearby police agencies? This fiasco on top of multiple escapes of patients.
We need more accountability. We need more oversight. I don't understand how people haven't lost their jobs.
We need more help because our only option is Hawthorne or giving your rights up.
Former psychiatric patients and their parents were in Rochester Hills today, voicing concerns to state lawmakers about the Hawthorne Center.
I think it's worse than maybe what we even thought it would be.
I know 3 people that escaped while I was there.
Jaden Carter has been admitted to Hawthorne 3 times.
The staff members struggled just as much as the patients do. There were 16 kids on an 11-kid unit. They only have like 3 or 4 staff members dealing with 16 kids.
They were woken up to moldy rainwater on their heads and on their bodies.
Don't just take their word for it. This video, sent to me by staff members at Hawthorne, shows water dripping onto beds. Natalie Anwar has 2 sons who were admitted to Hawthorne. Both suffer with autism. One of her sons has lost a considerable amount of weight, she says, in the 2.5 months since he was first admitted. Molly Bonter's 14-year-old daughter spent nearly a year at Hawthorne for suicidal ideation. She was discharged in January, her mom said, against her parents' wishes.
She was home for 11 days before my husband caught her attempting to hang herself from her ceiling in her bedroom.
A 15-year-old mental health patient chases down another 10-year-old patient, stomping his head multiple times. The stomping continues, and then afterwards, you can tell the 10-year-old tries to stand up. He can't. Staff around is not helping. A local lawmaker asked for an audit of the agency overseeing the state's mental health hospitals. Now, that agency is called the Office of Recipient Rights. Now, basically, it handles the complaints, the violations for 5 mental health hospitals in the state. And you can see those located throughout the state in places like Kalamazoo, Saline, Westland, Cairo, and Northville. So what we found out today, this office is a failure.
The Office of Auditor General's report found nearly 30% of complaints alleging abuse, neglect, serious injury, or death were not retrieved or acted on until 2 to 12 days after being filed. According to the state's own training materials, it's supposed to react within 24 hours. More than 10% of complaints lacked a date stamp, making it impossible to determine if action was timely, and video surveillance at the 5 state hospitals was often missing or not working.
There should be cameras. You complain, you ask for the video, and it just doesn't exist.
Yes, so they ask for footage from certain days, and it's just not there. I mean, we have a responsibility with these kids in our care, and adults in our care too at Walter Luther, and I think they're trying to kind of protect themselves more so than trying to get the system better.
And we did ask the state to sit down for an interview. Our request was denied.
So I want you to pay attention to this. MDHHS agrees or partially agrees with 7 of the audit's 8 findings. All of that, they say they basically agree. Say it in a statement the department recognizes there are opportunities for process improvements, and the department knows that some findings of the Office of Auditor General were outside the scope of knowledge. Now, we did post their full response and also a link to the audit itself on the investigators page at clickondetroit.com.
So continuing on, now we have the facts, and they are alarming. The Auditor General found that over 30% of serious complaints alleging abuse, neglect, injury, and even death were not investigated on time. And in nearly half the cases, video cameras that could have revealed the truth were broken or missing. Back in March, I sent a letter to Director Hertel, a copy you now have, raising these concerns. Her response stated, and I quote, "The camera systems for each hospital are robust and in working order. They are checked daily, and when there is a problem, the vendor is contacted to make repairs, which is handled by DTMB," unquote. But the audit tells a different story. It found that video and audio systems at the 5 state psychiatric hospitals were often missing or not working. And in over 40% of the investigations reviewed, that missing evidence could have made a difference. Recipient rights officers need full access to those recordings if they're going to investigate patients' complaints. When the state accepts responsibility for someone's care, it accepts a sacred trust to defend their dignity, to protect their rights, and to act swiftly when those rights are threatened or violated. After the audit was released on September 30th, and as the media started asking questions, the department deleted 2 years of public data on complaints, including information on the Hawthorne Center. On October 13th, I sent another letter to Director Hertel that read, and I quote, "You are aware of the disturbing findings from the Office of Recipient Rights audit, which confirms systemic failures under your leadership. Please provide a timeline for when the data will be restored online and an explanation of the discrepancies that led to its removal," unquote. Director Hertel's response ignored those questions. The data now appears to be back online, but the public deserves to know what was changed in those recipient rights reports and why it was removed in the first place. Director Hertel and her leadership team have been less than cooperative in addressing critical issues surrounding patient rights and safety. Families must be confident that Michigan's mental health system protects, not endangers, their loved ones. I'm also deeply concerned that our community mental health services, our community mental health services in private hospitals, and how they're not adhering to the same recipient rights standards required in the Mental Health Code. 90% of all recipient rights complaints occur within those facilities. Yet the department couldn't verify if their systems are even working. Oversight, which you guys are doing here today, isn't about politics. It's about doing what's right, protecting kids and vulnerable adults who can't protect themselves. I urge this committee to keep pressing for answers until we restore trust in the system.